Call of Duty has been around for 22 years. Coming out on October 29, 2003, Call of Duty has been the staple of video games. With its realistic gun designs, its World War II theme, and its high action and intense gameplay, Call of Duty became one of the highest grossing games of all time. In later Call of Duty games, specifically COD World at War, Treyarch introduced a new game mode called Zombies. This game mode boosted COD's popularity even more, creating its own community besides the multiplayer fanbase. In the earlier years of gaming, COD had millions of people in a chokehold. It still does now, but you get what I mean. Getting people addicted and spending so much of their time playing, its gameplay was so addicting that in every new release of COD, millions of players would buy the game. Then in later games, COD was then produced and published by Activision, which came with some problems. As any game would do, Activision tried to expand into small new things that would keep the old gameplay, but also try to implement new mechanics and ideas. But that made a lot of the community angry, because sometimes it just didn't make a lot of sense, and it caused other things that the community loved to be useless, or changed for an even worse mechanic. A very early example of this is the release of Black Ops 4, a game that had so many mixed reviews, but most of them were negative, that almost instantly made many players drop the game. With its uninteresting gameplay and its change of the storyline within the zombie Black Ops universe, it caused for a very rocky and mixed feeling within the zombie fanbase. At least that's what I've heard. I haven't bought or played the game. That may make my opinion on this take irrelevant, but I still want to talk about why I think COD is still alive and popular today. For a lot of the COD fanbase since Black Ops 4 release, they still bought the game and tried to find enjoyment in it, and many players actually liked it, and that's not a bad thing. But that was the start of COD's downfall, with their player base decreasing with every new COD release. Some games were really good and had some pretty cool new mechanics, though that still wasn't enough to bring a good chunk of their old community back. With the addition of Fortnite and its theme of Battle Royale, COD decided to dip its feet into the water to create their take on Battle Royales, Warzone. Warzone was absolutely phenomenal. Their take on Battle Royale was different from the way Fortnite did it. There was no building, and there was a more strategic way of rotating through the map, and the realistic guns had attachments and bullet drop. And the big difference between the two games was the introduction of the Gulag, a chance to redeem yourself if you died, to come back and have another fighting chance. This mechanic alone brought attention to many people's eyes and brought itself a new fanbase to the COD community. A community that will continue to reign over the zombies and multiplayer community in my personal opinion. But even Warzone wasn't safe from new and different changes by Activision. Though I'm not a big Warzone guy, I felt like I could see Activision taking huge caution in how they're going to change Warzone. But sometimes they weren't very successful, with Rebirth only including solos and squads for a time, immediately had their community in an outrage for not including duos or trios. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I also noticed that COD has a big problem with their servers. Constantly being disconnected, having connection issues in general, and just overall had a super laggy and buggy game from time to time. And I was actually a big victim of this. I've had plenty of crashes trying to play Black Ops Cold War, and these crashes weren't due to graphics or any settings in the game. I looked up every tutorial I could find and experimented with many different settings, but they all would still lead to a crash, which then just led me to play another game besides trying to fix the problem. And in recent months, I had trouble playing Rebirth with one of my friends who had come home for winter break. We would queue for Rebirth duos, die, and then have to leave the lobby just to re-queue. It was an absolute nightmare. So much so that it just led us away to play Fortnite and Lethal Company. And sometimes it feels as though Activision doesn't really care all that much about optimizing gameplay, because Call of Duty has always felt buggy to me ever since Cold War. I mention all of these problems, and with that you may think, if all these problems are happening, how does COD still have a player base? And to that I say there's an attachment. Some of the players who grew up with COD have this nostalgia, almost homey feeling every time they play COD. It comes from a place of nostalgia and attachment. In each Call of Duty game, there's always the same mechanics like gun camos, multiplayer game modes, with the realistic gun design and sound effects that just make the game fun in a way. These repeatable mechanics like gun camos are grindable, meaning that you have to put hours upon hours into getting them, and when you get the camos or player cards, it's a sign of commitment and determination to other players, almost like a sign of dominance in some sort of way. A lot of people thrive for those small things that assert dominance. Another reason I believe COD is still going is because of the gameplay. Though it's practically the same thing, you go in and shoot other players, there's just an addicting part to it. With its fast respawn times and the super high damage, fast killing guns, its gameplay finds itself to be still addicting after all these years. Even after all the unfortunate additions and mechanics that were added into previous COD games by Activision, COD still finds itself to be a popular game, even after cementing its revolutionary, game-changing presence years ago. But recently, with the release of Black Ops 6, Treyarch has regained presence in the COD developing space, giving older players hope that Treyarch could redeem COD's glory over a decade ago. Not gonna lie, it has me intrigued what Treyarch plans to do next. During the opening months of Black Ops 6, I was actually loving the game. It brought back some old mechanics while adding in new mechanics and gave zombies a fresh, new, and fun feeling again. I was actually on the grind for the zombie opal skin camos. Though I've stopped, I really did enjoy my time with COD, and may even get back into it in future updates. And from what I've seen in the COD community with Black Ops 6, it seems as though there aren't any huge problems that I heard of. Which is great, cause normally I'd hear about some groundbreaking news that Activision would just implode on itself for no reason, and piss off a good chunk of the fanbase. Though if I'm wrong, you let me know in the comments. Off topic though, my highest glitchless run in Black Ops Zombie 6 was around 52. What's yours? Leave it down in the comments below. With all that being said, if you like what you saw, you should definitely subscribe and like the video. The support is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to support me on other platforms, you should join the Discord and follow my Twitch, TikTok, and Twitter. Those links will be down below. Again, the support is deeply appreciated, but either way, that's all I really want to talk about. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all soon.